Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our third Shelter in Place webinars. This is Jayshree Vakil. I'm the president of Thai Austin, and today's live session is by Avi Kumar. He is the CEO of Kumar Marketing, and he will be talking to us about marketing hacks during challenging times. Avi Kumar has been the driving force behind the positive changes to many businesses with real world marketing challenges. Avi's long-standing relationships with many of his clients confirm that Kumar Marketing delivers results. And this is the main reason why we have called Avi today to enlighten us with some of the hacks that he has been using and maybe share them with us. And one very important thing, Avi is an alumni of UT. So all UT people here, go Longhorns. Welcome, Avi. We are delighted to have you. Couple of housekeeping rules, well, just suggestions that everyone during this webinar will be muted. And the request I have is that please type all your questions on question and answer slot. Prefer not on chat, prefer on question and answer. Thank you. Welcome, Avi. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Avi, now.
All right. Thank you. Let me see if my sharing screen works. Yeah, here it is.
Works.
Yeah, you guys can hear me okay? All right. So as Jayshree was talking about that, I've done this, I've done that. One of the rules of marketing is set the expectation low, so it's easier to meet. She set expectation very high. Now I'll see what I can do. So starting with that, let's see if I can go in presentation mode. You guys can see my full screen, hopefully. Presentation, panelist, at least, Jayshree, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about marketing. Businesses, the primary role of business should be the core things businesses should focus on in all times is marketing and innovation. It's a little bit self-serving coming from a marketing agency owner, but that's a fact. And even Peter Drucker believes that. So we're going to not talk about innovation. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of innovation in marketing, but I do want to emphasize that when thinking about marketing, don't forget the innovation in your business, because those are the two things which make the biggest difference. And so as we go from marketing to innovation, I like to simplify things whenever I can. And one way to simplify marketing is just think of marketing as nothing else but two things, traffic and conversion. So it's all about bringing traffic to the door. If it is a brick and mortar store, then literally to the door. If it is a website, then the traffic to the website. If it's an e-commerce store, whatever you're trying to sell or get people's attention for, you need that traffic. That is one of the things you need to do. The other is conversion. Once the traffic is there, you need to do things to convert that traffic to a paying customer or the activity which you want to do. If you are a nonprofit, it might not be the money which you're looking for, but whatever action you want to take, them to take, that's a conversion. So everything is about traffic and conversion, nothing else. And it's important to keep that in mind. Many times, under guise of many of the marketing terms, people will try and do things which is truly not about traffic and conversion. So it's an easy test, a litmus test to see that what you're doing, is it going to increase your traffic? Is it going to increase your conversion? If not, don't do it. This part applies in all times, but even more so when money is tight and times are a little harder, it's even more important to keep that in mind. And the other aspect of, sometimes you'll hear the term branding. Branding is great, it's marketing, but branding is at times used as a term to kind of push vanity. Because end of the day, it's not about vanity or looking good. If the branding is about increasing traffic, it makes sense. Otherwise, no. Nike is not famous because of its logo. The logo is famous because of Nike. So don't get mixed up in branding and logos too much. Try to think, how will it impact traffic or conversion? So now getting into the topic at hand, this is what I'm going to try to cover. First, I'm going to talk about, based on the data available from different marketing publications and businesses, that what is working now in current times, what has changed and what is working now. Then I will try to talk about, there are certain things not to do in current times. And then, of course, what to do, even more important. Then I'll end by giving you guys some very, very specific, a little bit different way of looking at things and doing few things, which some of you might have thought about, some have not, and hopefully you can go and try that and see it, if it helps. So this is what is going on. This is from Gartner Group. There is impact on businesses because of COVID-19. I don't have to say that. We all know that, but actually the data numbers all point out it is there. The part to remember is it's not a negative impact on all businesses, but there is an impact of one kind or the other. And some cases the impact is very big, some cases it is a little bit, some cases more, but there is a change. The environment has changed. There's no doubt about that. That is the only takeaway from this. I will try to remember here. So what is working now? Let's start with that. Again, this should not be any surprise to anybody, but might be if you're not directly into this area or thinking about it. Online traffic is actually surging. So what happens when people are at home? They're more on computers. They are browsing, playing games, more so. So online traffic is surging, and which in some ways, from marketing point of view and otherwise, it's an opportunity. The other aspect which has happened is that the consumption time, especially for entertainment, has shifted to later in the evening. So all people are up late and still on internet. So that's a one aspect which to keep in mind if you're trying to target some customers. Those might be better times to target. Mobile was already growing before COVID-19, but so it's no change in that. Mobile is still growing and even more so. But all the research traffics like COVID-related traffic, actually the increase is on the desktop. So maybe the reason is now you're sitting at home, you have phone, but you also have a laptop or a desktop because you're at home, it's more easily accessible. You're not out in the car and out and about. So the traffic so whenever it is a research topic or COVID-related stuff, the traffic is actually higher on desktop. Social media was already, everybody was talking about that, hey, the way to do marketing nowadays is social media. It's even more so. And finally, the e-commerce. E-commerce was already taking off. Everybody was talking about it, but e-commerce has really, really taken off much more in current times. And here is where interesting trends are happening is, one of the trend is e-commerce used to be, from a marketing agency point of view, something you help a company market. You basically go and help with their e-commerce. But now the trend is that offer e-commerce as a service, which means a third party will take over your e-commerce completely while you focus on production and shipping, and they will do all your e-commerce. So this is one of the trends in e-commerce. It allows the operators who were very good at their production part just stay focused on that while have somebody else completely handle e-commerce. And we are one of the players who have got into this also, but this trend had started emerging even before COVID, just a few months before, and now it's picking up pretty rapidly. Those seem to be generic numbers in my mind. So when somebody says, oh, traffic is high and everything is, the timings are changed, but those are general. So I'm always curious about what does it mean very specifically. So of course we have limited time, so we cannot go through all data, but I did want to throw out exact data for exact case studies, if you will. So here is a LinkedIn profile of a person, actual person, with the dates that This person in particular was getting 46 views in last 90 days, one of the metrics LinkedIn uses. Effectively, what it means is that, every other day somebody was looking at their profile. And they were doing some activity, and look at the trend. By now, they're getting 3,594 views in 90 days. So it's a big jump. So this is the average, by the way, of last 90 days. It's a running average. So so that's why the growth seems slow, but that has been a big jump. And what is the impact of viewing? Here is the impact, the number of total connections. So LinkedIn case, it was 434 when starting out, and it's over 1,800 now. So it's an amazing jump. And look at the trend. Look at the jump around March. So this is the reason I want to show that is this is actual user who got into active on LinkedIn and what happens with their profile. So these are not general idea trends that traffic is increasing, the social is more people are there. These are real numbers, because in case of LinkedIn, if this person was prospecting for business, I mean, their opportunity to prospect really went up almost tenfold here with number of views. A view is like an ad, somebody looking at you. So, so numbers are really there to prove the points which I was talking about earlier, that things are really happening and changing. So there are some businesses which are doing better than the others. Of course, these are the businesses which are thriving. If you are in this category, that you can really leverage that. Home and lifestyle is thriving. Business, finance, and investing, is actually doing very well. And careers, and one way to measure this is the click-through rate. CTR is click-through rate, has increased over 70%. So it's a big jump in these situations. E-commerce, actually, the growth is, instead of click-through rate, it is a weekly growth rate of over 50%. So this is phenomenal growth for e-commerce itself. Entertainment, as you would expect in these times, is definitely grown quite a lot. And health and fitness has seen a significant growth in all categories. And this is interesting. The gyms are closing down, and others, people thought, okay, what will happen with health and fitness industry? A lot of companies who were already playing in online and offering classes, etc. Others realized this and quickly jumped on it, are doing really well. So it's a question of meeting your customer where they are. If they are at home, then meet them at home, including, home fitness systems being shipped has gone up quite a lot for obvious reasons, but online classes for fitness are really growing very, very rapidly as well in this area. Here are some, little bit of eye charts, but this is again from Gartner, I believe, kind of showing very specifically how some of our businesses are growing. And this goes up to end of March. Interesting areas, some of them. Gunsmith going up. Fitness and exercise, we already talked about. Hospitals, we expected that. Art galleries actually going up. So many of the areas are growing much more rapidly than the other ones in current times. So the only reason I'm presenting these categories is because we will talk about what everybody can do. But the idea here is that if you are a new business, and if there was the ability to be in any of these areas, then get in there. There is still a lot of opportunity. If you are already in this area, if you're not seeing this kind of a growth, then something is off. So start looking at your marketing carefully, because you should be growing also with the market in these ones. If you're not in these, and if you're not growing, then you have to look at something else. You don't have to abandon your business. We will talk about what you could do possibly in these situations and to mitigate that if you're not in these areas. But it is still good to know which areas are doing well. So that's why I did want to point that out. There are a few things in current times we would not want to do. Here is one very specific thing do not do, because usually we tell customers, go and ask for more Google reviews. Don't ask for Google reviews. March 20th, Google shut off the new reviews. If you go and ask a customer for a review, the review will not show up. At least Google right now is saying that, oh yeah, right now we are busy with more important things, but it's possible that reviews asked now in next few months or so might never show up. So you might have lose that opportunity of getting that review. So just wait till they open it up before you ask for any more reviews. So this is a very, very specific aspect to watch out for. Don't spend any money on vanity marketing. Again, vanity marketing is many times, oh, let's kind of do something just to look pretty. That's not the thing to spend money on at this point. If it doesn't make money directly, if it doesn't grow your audience directly, don't spend money on it right now. On the other hand, if you have some performing ads which are already working and they're working, there's no reason to stop, because that's the other aspect. Many times it's kind of a deer in headlights approach, that as soon as something happens, well, let's stop, even though everything is working. So that is not true. If some stuff is already working and it is ROI positive, there is no reason to stop it. Don't stop those activities. And in what not to do, one very important aspect is try to be a little bit more sensitive in your messaging and selling. Hard selling is not going to work. A lot of people in business are going through hard times. So it's important to keep that in mind in your messaging, that be sympathetic to the situation. This is one of the common lines which is used in email marketing. Should I stay? Should I go? We call it a breakup email, the last email which goes out usually. And these are the kind of things not to be used right now, because it'll upset people. And any of these things, especially in email marketing, when we're talking about from experience. We use these lines and people complain. And so this is not just some random thought that it's a great idea not to do that. It truly will impact your marketing in a negative manner if you do this. And don't be too lighthearted, because the people you're talking to, you don't know their condition. So you got to watch what you're saying. Instead, what you do is focus on offerings that is very specific to the situation. I don't remember which car company it is, but they came out with that. I think it was Hyundai, that no payments for 90 days. So they're still marketing, they're still selling. Or some are saying is, if you lost your job, no this thing payment for 6 months, or things like that. Those are very specific offerings, specific to the situation. So they come across as, hey, we care. At the same time, they're still selling. So that kind of offerings is absolutely fine, because actually that helps people. Any aggressive sales pitch, buy now or never kind of a thing, should be avoided. The other aspect is, usually in marketing, we like happy visuals and we like crowds. These are the times where you need to watch for what you use in the visuals, because that might not go well in current times. That being said, I want to emphasize this. When we say this messaging, watch for your messaging, don't come across too happy. But that doesn't mean do the standard doom or gloom. This kind of a thing that, oh yeah, in these times we are with you. It's time to move on. We are all tired of such emails. They say the same thing, right? So just kind of, the way to be empathetic to people is, whatever you're doing, think about it a little bit, how it's going to help. Just using generic sentences is not going to help, because everybody's using them. That's not going to make you stand out. It's not going to make people connect. So think before you message in any way in current times, especially if you're in marketing. So, and don't do what everybody else is doing, just same email copy. So let's get to what we should do in the current times. This is a great time to build top funnel and lead generations, because people are there. They're willing to engage. They might not buy immediately. They might take time to buy. If you're not one of those businesses which is hot right now, this is what I would do. I will shift from ready to buy to building engagement and building the top of the funnel, so eventually they will buy. That's where I will shift all my marketing to. And if you had event budget, a lot of companies had budget for events. Take that budget, because online is still working, shift it to PPC. This is pay-per-click, account-based marketing, virtual events, webinars, and video production. Video, I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing video is king, but if there is budget available, shift it towards video. So that's a great way to leverage that budget, which was meant for events. And we are getting a lot of inquiries from a lot of customers saying, hey, we had this major sales force or this event coming up. That's not going to happen. We're not going to be doing that. But that's how we sold. So are there any other ways to do this marketing online now? So people are thinking, and they're thinking, right, that this is the time to take that money and go online and get that top of the funnel going. This might seem counterintuitive. Launch new offerings is, don't launch a product which is so far out. This is not the time to launch a product which is so far out that will take a lot of education on the part of customers to understand what are you talking about. But if you already had few lines of services or few products and you want to launch one or two, which is a variation or a better version of the other one, this is a good time to do it. Because when you do this now, because people are engaged, they will talk about it, it'll be discussed, and then you'll be ready to sell a lot more because of the engagement as they start buying. This is not specific to the current times, but it is even more important now. So check your website and messaging. Look for me versus you messages. One practical advice I have, how to do this. What is me versus you message? One practical advice I have is, if you have a website or a landing page or anything, just check how many times you say, we do this, we have the best team in the world, we are the best marketing agency, we do this. Or if you're a company, Acme does this, Acme does this. It's like always about we. If it is we, just try to replace that by I, and you will notice how ridiculous it sounds. Instead, it needs to be you message. You messages are you suffering from this? We are here to help. Do you have these problems? Have you wondered how to solve this problem? Here are the 3 solutions we offer. So it completely changes the way this part is true always, but even more so now. They don't want to be hearing about you. They want to hear about them. Everybody does. There's nothing, it's not that customers are selfish or anything. Everybody wants to be talking about themselves. And that's more so in times when they feel a little bit concerned about things. They're concerned about themselves. So it's important to do this. So as I said, just go and count how many times you say we, your company name on a page, versus when you're talking or starting a sentence or talking about customers. They'll give you an easy check. 80% of the time, it needs to be about the customer or a client. Again, this is in the same line as the building the top of the funnel. This is the time to audience expansion versus revenue generation. I'm going to say a little bit more because if you're, some of you might get mixed up between top of the funnel and audience expansion and revenue generation, what it is. I want to simplify that. It's pretty simple. When you have people talking about your product, that's audience expansion or engagement. You want to go for that. When they are buying your product, that's a revenue generation, an actual sale. Anything you can do to get the buzz out right now, that's the audience building. That's the audience expansion. That is top of the funnel. So that is what you want to do right now. In these techniques are especially applicable to companies or businesses which are currently negatively impacted because of COVID. If what you have is selling like hotcakes, yeah, keep selling. I'm not saying is change your mode there. You want to change your messaging probably, but don't change if your business is doing very well. Don't change that part. Just change the messaging and keep selling. Yeah, I think I already covered that. So he's one of my favorite authors. A lot of you people probably read his book, The Principles. So it applies even now, what he has said before. Look at the environment. Look at what you want. Then see what is true. And then just work how to achieve it. This applies to marketing, applies to business. I'm trying not to be philosophical, but from marketing point of view, we work with customers and we try to use these 3 things. And we are able to explain to them that, okay, this is the situation right now. This is the environment. People are not buying this, but they're willing to buy this. So how do we do this? So this really helps simplify the process if you are getting mixed up on what to do. And as I promised, some might be a little controversial here, the things I'm going to point out. But we believe in these and we are doing it for our customers. So these are 5 action items for quick results. I would call these as low-hanging fruits because others might not be picking because they are not focusing on these. Some might be, but these are straightforward, practical things you can do. So here is first one. Yes, if you are, I understand you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, start engaging on TikTok. And if you're a business, of course, you will not be making those just videos which are funny, but it's more about thought leadership. TikTok is at early stages and is it's, I think, 7th most downloaded app right now. And it's growing very, very rapidly. And the one thing which I hear sometimes from clients is, or people saying, oh, TikTok, it's for kids. 25% of TikTok users in US are people with age over 45. 1/4. Yes, there is more younger crowd, but it is really getting there. The reason it is important to get there early is all channels of advertising and promotions, they start out cheap and they get very expensive when everybody is there. So earlier you get there and establish thought leadership and understand the channel, more is the opportunity to benefit from it. And TikTok is one of those places right now. This will be, I would call, a stealth technique for marketing. There are a lot of traffic assets out there, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, Twitter blogs. These assets are exactly that, traffic assets. Most people don't look at them like that. Most, oh, it's a traffic, it's a good engagement group. But the way to look at these is simply whatever keyword you're trying to achieve traffic from. Say you're selling, perfume, red perfume. If the keyword red perfume, the cost of that keyword is $10.45 per keyword. If you find a group which has 100,000 people and there is a 10% engagement, and that group talks about perfumes and sensory objects or something related, then you can exactly calculate what is the value of the group. Many of these groups are almost free. They are labor of love started by somebody who's getting tired of it. You can get into the group and they will many times give the group completely free to you if you help them manage it. Or you could even buy it. And you can buy it for a lot cheaper than the traffic, the money you will pay Google and Facebook. So this is one of the kind of a stealth marketing technique which you can use to gain some traffic. And this is not influencer marketing. This is actually buying and building your own influencer. So consider this. And there is group for everything. On Facebook, on LinkedIn, there are groups for anything you can think of. And there are many groups for everything. So find the right group and consider seeing if you can acquire that asset. The other one will be, yeah, search SEO has been going on for years. And Google has become very smart. You got to be white hat SEO. We all know that. Search engine optimization, we still have to do certain level of it. We all know that. But the area where it is a greenfield is optimizing for voice. A lot more people are talking to Siri and asking. That's voice search. The results produced from the search are based on voice search. The voice search optimization is not same as the standard search engine optimization. It's a time to start thinking and doing more of that. That's yet another way to stand out. If you are B2B, you got to be on LinkedIn. Buying lists to send emails makes no sense nowadays. It did not make sense before, but it used to work for a while back. But buying any kind of an email list and sending email, cold emails, no, there is no reason to. You can get on LinkedIn, and there are many systems, many ways to really, really get into a big network. And even for some B2C, customers, this can go very, very well. We are in Austin. I'll tell you a true story about this B2C, how LinkedIn works. My wife, Cindy, she kept on asking me that I needed to take her minivan to get brakes checked, or brakes actually changed for sure. And I know I kept on blowing it off. I'm busy, I'm in office. Finally, one day she says, hey, Saturday, all you do is sleep most of the day. I've got somebody coming at the house, and I'm working. She's a ER nurse practitioner. So I'm working, but they'll come by at home and fix the brakes. And, you should, so you can do that at least. I said, sure. So that guy comes over. He was a little late. So I came out in pajamas, actually, started talking to him. And I said, oh, this is great. How much do you charge? And which was already set. And I've realized that he actually charges then lesser than the brake places, and he comes by and fixes it. And he's a Westlake high school graduate, which my kids were going to the school. So I even talked to him more. How's the business going? I asked him, how do you get your customers? He said, oh, I'm trying Facebook ads and this, that. I said, have you tried LinkedIn? I know LinkedIn is more B2B, but try LinkedIn. He said, oh, I don't know about LinkedIn. I don't know. So I said, hey, we do have a service, but you don't have to worry about paying. I'm just curious. I'll not even charge you. I'm curious whether a service like this, which is B2C, will work on LinkedIn. It worked amazingly well. But if it come to think about it, there is a reason it worked very well. All people who are in office and busy and cannot take their car to get the brakes checked, and these guys come and fix your brake at home, and the price is actually slightly cheaper and better quality, why not, right? So many times it can be for B2C, but generally it's much more of a B2B. There's no doubt. We have a few other stories of B2C, but primarily it is for B2B. It's a gold mine. If you have any kind of a B2B thing, it is, people have started realizing that in last year or so. We've been working on with LinkedIn for 4 years now. But now there is a lot more people are realizing that it's an amazing place for B2B business. So look at that if you are into B2B space. This might seem like, oh, this is pretty standard, automation and email marketing. This is what I'm talking about is the fact the engagement is higher. If you get people from LinkedIn after connecting and put them into email marketing and you automate, you find out based on your responses in automation to automate with the right kind of emails. It's amazing times. The email open rates are much higher right now with the right emails. So again, a true story. First week, we took a list which was very old and we repurposed it, came up with the content and sent email out. First day of sending emails out, we got 3 calls through our receptionist. And 2, they just left a message. 1 I talked to, and then we talked. So eventually we ended up talking to 2 in person. And the person calls, the one I took the call. He says, hey, I don't remember signing up for this. This is kind of I don't know, when did I sign up for this? But you know what? If I ever want to receive an email which I did not sign up for, this is it. This is amazing. How do you guys do that? And I know you're going to send me 2-3 more emails and you're going to give me an offer. Can you give me the offer right now? This is on phone. And of course, I gave him the offer and we sold him what we were selling. So reason, again, get the right people. We knew where we got them from, and we engaged by giving them what they want. Because people are opening emails, open rates are upward of 40% for email marketing right now, some of our campaigns, which we had never seen before. So right time to do this. Again, don't start with cold email lists. It has to be email list which you build up, and that's working really well. All right. So let's look at a little bit bigger picture. I'm almost to the end, and hopefully, yeah, time-wise, we're doing, I think, okay. It's going to be okay. Recognize that we understand the times have changed. So you got to change your tone, how you deal with customers if you're in marketing. And keep this in mind. Your customers are watching you. Doesn't matter what you're selling. If your tone is negative or feels like hopeless, your customers are not going to buy from you because they will assume that your business might not be around later. And this is my favorite thing. You cannot fake being positive. You have to really believe it. In fact, you cannot fake anything. When we say you got to care about people, the only way to care about people is even if you dislike them, and if you want to care about them, you got to find the things you like about them. It's the same way. You got to find the positive in current situation. Then only you can really come out and positive that, yeah, we're going to be around. We are working through it. So it's important to do this. I don't want to get too philosophical. I think all of you guys probably have enough life experiences to know what I'm talking about. This is a good time to look at your business, audit everything what is going on, because if there is more time, and just rework the system a little bit if necessary, and try some of these hacks we talked about, and hopefully, some will work, and that will change a game for you. All right, this is my personal quote. I've heard on Facebook quite a lot, people talking about this is nature coming at us, and nature is taking its revenge. So I'm getting very philosophical here, but I just want to point out that things are going to be okay. It's not nature versus humans. It's nature is not fighting us. We're part of the nature. It's virus versus humans. We have our immune systems too. So it'll be all right. We'll come out of it all right. All right, that's what I have to say here, and open to questions.
That's great, Avi. Great closing. Really, this was good. So I want to start with the first question, going back to your LinkedIn chart or the graph. Somebody here by the name of Nitin has asked, because the one that has the profile views, the graph, and the question is that the increase in connections lead to increase in profile views. Is this true, or is there more to that?
It's actually other way around. These connections came because of the profile views. So when people view your profile, then they send you a connection request. So nobody sends just think of this way. Nobody can call you without looking up the directory, your phone number. Same way on LinkedIn, they cannot send you a connection request without going to your page. As soon as you go to page, that's considered a profile view. So the profile views lead to more connections incoming to you, not the other way around.
And so the follow-up on that would be like, what else can one do to stand out on LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn has a tool called Sales Navigator. We're getting a little bit into details, but use Sales Navigator to find the bucket of people who are of interest to you first, then visit their profiles, and then start posting like any other social media content which is of value. So that's like any other social network to stand out. You got to post content. Original content works very well. The piece of content which worked best for me was where I asked, I just posted a spreadsheet. I said, my son is going to go to college. He's considering a college, and he wants to do electrical computer engineering, a college in London, and then he's considering UT and Urbana-Champaign, and the costs are here. I'm trying to figure it out. There are different, it's in-state in Texas. What will it be? I posted on LinkedIn. This is a kind of a personal but interesting post. The engagement I got on this was the highest, including people actually sending me emails saying, hey, I can help you a little bit more about Urbana-Champaign, or convincing him that, hey, that's a good school. So anything which is That personal, still on the business network, but business kind, does very well versus here is a link, I loved it, and I just copied and pasted. So that and it need not be one-liner. You can write 3 pages. If you really have a personal story, people will follow. I understand a lot of people say, oh, this is not Facebook. It's not Facebook. You got to stay professional if you can, and there are people who have made their names on LinkedIn by making it Facebook. Nobody can stop anybody from doing whatever they want on social media. But my recommendation would be stay professional, but you can still be personal in explaining your business situation or talking about it. That's the way to get engagement.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to stay on LinkedIn here for a couple of more questions.
Sure.
One question is, can you provide cost comparative analysis between Facebook and LinkedIn?
LinkedIn,
because they say
sure.
that they have found LinkedIn to be very expensive.
Correct. The ROI for ads is not there at all. We don't do any ads on LinkedIn. We do it every 2 months or so just to check if it has changed. It's not changed. If you are thinking about cost analysis about actually doing ads, absolutely. Facebook, and out of Facebook, usually Instagram wins out, is better. LinkedIn, all of this is this is a very planned activity to reach out to the right people. It's no ads. It's not completely organic in the sense because it's planned out and done in certain ways. There are tricks and techniques being used, but there are no ads in any of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, otherwise the ROI is not there at all. That part is true.
Sure. So one more, I'll stay with LinkedIn. And this one is a longer question, but just bear with me. You mentioned LinkedIn as a superior alternative to cold email in this environment. Yet, personalized emails, that is mail merge, reply rates are 5 times that of in-mail or LinkedIn messages to second-degree connections. Are you suggesting that this trend has shifted during COVID? And if so, why do you suspect that to be the case?
So there are 2-3 things here. Let me see, I can dissect them. One, if the idea is that sending personal email directly, one-on-one, is better, even if it is a cold email with personalized email, than LinkedIn, yes. Even better than that is actually meeting people. Even better than that is kind of selling in person, right? What the idea with the LinkedIn is, so that's one thing, that if you can personalize the email and send email to somebody and they will find that engaging directly by mail merge or yet another mail merge on Gmail, and there are so many tools, we use all of them. Yes, that'll work better. But on LinkedIn, you can find your second connections and reach out to them to connect. We get minimum of 600 or so connections per month for somebody who is insurance salesperson or something you will consider, hey, why would anybody want one more insurance salesperson? And on the higher end, we get few thousands of connections coming in per client or per month. Once they connect, if somebody is connecting, they're seeing your first message guaranteed because they're connecting. So it's higher than email. As soon as they connect and they start talking, we absolutely take them to mail after that because the conversation started. No point staying on LinkedIn. Now, there will be some who will still keep going back to LinkedIn. Then you have to stay on LinkedIn. But otherwise, take them to mail, email as soon as possible after the connection happens.
Right. Okay. So one person asked, can you elaborate on what is account-based marketing?
So account-based marketing is where you reach out. A company is important. So you're doing business with IBM, and IBM is probably large. So there might be a subsection of IBM or a subgroup of IBM. And the product you sell, they buy there. Then you don't want to sell to 1 or 2 person. You will target that whole group, the whole account. So you choose companies and start targeting those companies because a lot of decisions in B2B world are not made by one person. It's usually made by a committee or a group. So it's not only the CFO. CFO decides the money, but the engineer who needs the network software decides, head of networks decides which software, and there is a committee. So that becomes account-based marketing. So identifying the accounts or companies, if you will, and reaching out to multiple people in that company is account-based marketing.
So following up with that, there's another question on terms is what is PPC?
It's pay-per-click. So I apologize. It's just a,
No
when you do Google ads or even Facebook, sometimes the term is used. So when you pay by click, you know,
right.
Yeah.
And then there's one person who asked, can you clarify B2B versus B2C? And so it's business to business versus business to consumers.
That is correct.
Right. So so the next question I'm going to ask is, we are an end-to-end demand generation agency targeting IT SaaS companies through omni-channel, like email, outbound calling, and social media.
Mm-hmm.
How can we grow our business now?
So
today's time.
Yeah, so if they are already omni-channel, then they should not be a problem, right? Because you would be doing much better than the others who were doing, especially you would not be able to do door-to-door. But all the other places, if you were already on the online channels, just move the spend there. That's what I would say. I mean, the first question would be, is the buying reduced? Are there lesser people buying the eventual service? So, that will be the first thing. But otherwise, reaching out part, if you're omni-channel, then it should not be a problem. Maybe channels which are not doing well, which is, we have customers who are saying, hey, we used to have sales door-to-door. That's not going to work. So they drop that and just focus on the other ones. Hopefully I understood the question.
I think you got it, yes. There's one more person asking here, what is the best way to engage B2C, business to consumer, on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn is harder. It has to be something, basically business to consumer. The idea is that if you're selling a widget which is worth only $25, $30 and you want a lot of people to buy it, LinkedIn is not the place to do. Now, if you're selling B2C and that service is, you might be fitness. We have clients who are doing this. They sell a package, which is a 12-week program at $6,000. Now it's a B2C, it's a service package. It's worthwhile in that situation. But because it's $6,000, they are willing to start with a funnel of 500-600 people and then slowly work with that going down the pipe. So engaging on the LinkedIn in this case would be is them posting ongoing basis some content which establishes them as an expert, and using LinkedIn to reach out and connect with a lot more people of exactly they have already be profile for them, who are their customers, usually what seniority level, and reaching out to them.
In reference to TikTok, somebody wants to know, do you see it being beneficial in the real estate business?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, there is a compliment here, by the way, great presentation. So I just want to make sure I relayed that to you.
Thank you.
By Rajiv Bali. So that's, let's see, one concern that somebody has is people are not really in the buying mode right now. And I think you touched that on your presentation as well.
Correct. There are some products people are majorly in buying mode. Usually if you go to HEB, your loaf of bread is $1.50 or so. We are helping customers sell the loaf of bread for $5 online, shipped from California to Texas. $5 plus shipping. And because it's a special bread, so it's special in the sense, actually, it's not that special in reality. It's just branding and making sure that it's a special original formula from San Francisco kind of a situation. So saying that, yes, there are certain things people don't want to buy, but there are certain things they feel, hey, this is a time I cannot go out and I'm not supposed to go out. I would rather have the best of the foods because I can get it from there.
Right. Okay. So Avi, one other question. You advised us to find your target audience / prospect base on LinkedIn.
If
And
it was,
then-
yeah, check him on
And
LinkedIn.
then send out customized and relevant content.
Not
How
to
would
the,
you, I'm
yeah,
sorry?
not to send out to them. First, you need to connect. So first, initially, you need to find and visit and start connection request in a customized manner, and then post that content. And don't start, if you start sending content to people just like that, people will not like it. There are many other techniques which we do. And if I can, if you're okay, I'll put in a plug. If you send email there, we can add you to a list where we give out free LinkedIn tip per day. There are many simple techniques you can do. And they're like, I think 34 techniques, and which don't cost you any money, but you can kind of, if you do those techniques, there are a bunch of things you can do. I'll give out one easy one. Find somebody who's reasonably big enough, who you know, and go and send them an endorsement saying that, hey, that person was a great manager or great person. Most people, if written well, will accept that because you're just kind of praising them, right? Telling them how great they are. Once they accept that, because they already have a lot of traffic on their site, on their page, people who come to their site will actually come to yours. You effectively get equivalent of a backlink. Traffic on your page will go up because you endorsed somebody more famous than you.
Yeah.
So there are things like that you can do.
Sure. So I'm going to switch gears here. There is one anonymous attendee who's asking, why are art galleries doing better right now?
So I'm not a, Jayashree, maybe you can answer this better than I can. You have more background in, I don't know exactly why art galleries. I do know other example. I have a friend, he's in India actually. He's a doctor, a gastroenterologist, but he does paintings and he does amazing paintings. And he doesn't sell them, he gives it to friends, but he's amazing. He has done art shows and all. He does a lot more paintings now. So, and people appreciate them quite a lot. So maybe it is, again, I'm just taking a guess here. Maybe you're sitting at home, you see this beautiful pictures and paintings and others, and you want to own them and you feel like they make you feel good. I don't know exactly the answer. Jayashree, you are more of an art person, so help me out.
I think they just are online a lot more, and I think they are also looking to get away from their day-to-day, that what you said is like, let's change the message. Let's not talk about the same story, coronavirus and COVID. And this is more of a pleasant out way kind of a thing, way out for them. And I think artists are doing better. They are not necessarily translating into sales, by the way, as you pointed out, but the engagement is there. And so that itself is a winner for art galleries and artists, I think, right now. But I don't know much more about that beyond what you said. So I'm going to switch gear, and since we are coming up on an hour, now, if you don't mind, Avi, can we extend 5 more minutes beyond 9 o'clock, or?
Sure.
Would that be okay with you? Okay.
Certainly.
So one question here is, what is the future of transportation industry, especially flight travel? How travel-based startups can market and survive during this time?
I think it's beyond my capability to answer that. Anything I will do will be as good a guess as anybody else's. So I don't know the answer.
Okay. Okay. There's a compliment here. Avi rocks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I have one question, and maybe that might, I'm just looking through some of these other questions, if there is anything that I need to ask before I ask this last question. Let's see. I think we are pretty much, somebody asked if we can share contact details, and yes, we will have contact. You will have this recording of this webinar. So yes, I have one question before I go to the last one. Hi, Avi, Rajiv here, Rajiv Bali. Congratulations, great presentation. Do you feel that boundaries are getting blurred? For example, TikTok for thought leadership instead of slapstick comedy? LinkedIn for B2C instead of B2B, would these weaken their brands, their brand image, especially LinkedIn or TikTok losing its diehard, lighthearted audience?
Actually, that's a good question. And first, I don't feel I'm qualified enough or to say should or not, but I do want to give my opinion here more than anything else. So this is the way I have approached a lot of things in social media, etc. That don't try to, we are in marketing. It doesn't matter what people say, that it's not our job to start trends or fashions. Our job is to ride it. That's the way I look at it. And we have always done better. So by thinking in those terms. So we watch the trends, that's what's happening. So there is a natural tendency which cannot be stopped, that end of the day, every social media channel goes towards lesser serious stuff, more frivolous stuff. Now, some channels, interestingly enough, TikTok, one of them, starts from frivolous and has gone towards serious stuff. But the frivolous stuff always has, people don't want to be preached all the time or most of the time. Most people don't have time for that. So they just prefer just funny stuff. Whenever we have tried on Facebook some very thought-provoking anything, it doesn't go anywhere. For that matter, even on LinkedIn, simpler statements go farther. So generally people prefer simpler things, but thought leadership still works. When these marketing gurus and business gurus, they come up and 15 seconds give you a tip, which will make a difference, people will go there because it's something they can understand in 15 seconds and hopefully get excited about and go and do something. So yes, they are all mixing. Some start from more infotainment and then they go more education, but they all, they go towards a common denominator of, at some point, simple is the only thing which works. At least that's what I have noticed. So that's why I said I don't know exactly what will happen with the brands with any one of these.
So I think this is good because I think you also answered Aubrey's question, which is related to TikTok and frivolous posts, etc. So thank you. So one last question. One person is asking, I have a brand new startup, a B2B software company. What are the first three things or top three things I should do in today's market?
So this will seem self-serving. Most companies don't realize this and they think marketing comes later. Even before you go and define your whole product, talk to somebody in marketing. Figure out, because otherwise you go too far defining the product before you know where the market is. Because it's the, it's the overlap of the market and what your product does. That's what it makes it successful. So that's the first thing I would do. Talk to somebody to understand that, hey, where your market is, how big is the market, and what will happen is the first part. Software, the multiplier when you sell a software company is very high. So it's a great business to be in general. It's like usually upwards of 8 or 9 when you're a small business selling to a bigger business. So it's a good business for sure. And it's not going away. It'll never go away for a long time. So the question was what they could do, first few things. The other one is, this applies to all, but even for software, any product or any service you do, just sell a few for some money, even if it is for less money, before you declare victory that I've got a product and a service. Because otherwise it's like a great dream, but if nobody's paying for it, it's friends and family only using, you don't have a product yet. They got to pay something for it. It can be a very small amount, but if it is for free, it's not there. So it applies to any business. Software business becomes harder because there is some investment there. There is a product development there. So get customers or partners who are willing to use it as early as possible. So get the marketing advice from somebody, get customers right away. So those are the two things I would say. I don't know if there is a third thing immediately which comes to mind because it kind of depends on details of the product.
So I hope Avi answered your question, whoever answered this question. this question. Call Avi.
Yeah, it not be Avi. I'm just, there will be others, I'm sure.
So thank you, Avi. Thank you so much. And this was very, very, very good. Indeed. So as I mentioned briefly in between, a recording of this webinar will be posted on Thai Austin website, and it'll be under past events, because we're going to move this event to past events now on that page. And it'll also be posted on YouTube, and it'll be at Thai Austin. If you think that any of you think that your questions didn't get answered, or if you have more questions that come to your mind, please send us an email to webinars@austin.thai.org. It's just at webinars, and the same, to go to our website. And then we will forward those to Avi, and we will get back to you, or Avi can get back to you directly. So thank you all for attending. One more housekeeping here. Our next webinar is going to be on June 16th. So mark your calendar, and it's going to be about entrepreneurship in a changed world. And this will be a live discussion. It's not really a webinar. We will have back-to-back question and answer session, and you will be able to, in fact, interact, not just type your questions. You will be able to raise hand and interact with the speaker about the issues, challenges that are involved in getting startups funded in these difficult times right now. And the speaker is going to be Krishna Srinivasan. A lot of you already know him, and he's the founder and partner at Live Oak Venture Partners, a very successful VC company here in Austin. Thank you all for attending. Thank you very much, Avi. And
yep. Thank you. And by the way, Krishna is amazingly and very smart guy. So show up for that. He'll definitely go away learning quite a few things.
So we'll expect you, Avi, to tune in to this one as well, next one, and be active. Thank you.
All right.
Good night. And everybody stay safe, please.